Previously on Christmas Creeps.
Every Halloween, we're like, maybe we should do rare exports. Every other Christmas podcast has done rare exports but us. And I think people are just expecting us to just never do it.
It's a point of pride at this point, right?
I've seen it already.
We're being obstinate on purpose now.
Yeah, come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are now 91 shopping days left until Christmas. We are into the double digits now. And you know what that means. That means it's time for another episode of Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday movies and TV shows all year round. My name is Joseph Wade. I will be your host for this evening. Here with me tonight is my co-host, Mr. Bradford. Brad, what's shaking, buddy? Beautiful.
It's September, and I'm glad and I'm happy about that.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it's finally
the most wonderful time of the year. It's the beginning of fall.
Finally, not super hot, and I'm very glad of it.
It was a cold and misty morning today, and I loved it.
Ooh,
can't wait.
Turtleneck on, Mr. Autumnal Weather.
That's right. Mr. Autumnal Weather's back again, baby.
It's always good to live to see another year of fall.
Well, when you put it like that, geez.
Every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present, Joseph. I'm unusually optimistic tonight. I don't know.
I know. It's almost like we watched a good movie for once, which is a rare thing around here.
It's very rare. The Christmas creep. Yeah,
I didn't even know I set myself up for that, but there it is, folks.
The Christmas creeps can watch a good movie every once in a while as a treat.
As a treat, yeah. Treat yourself, friends, because we're deep in the middle of our double-length Home for the Horrordays extravaganza this year. So you may remember last episode where we kind of teased rare exports and then said, actually, no, we're just not going to ever do this one. We're never going to touch it. Well, guess what, friends? Tonight's the night.
We immediately decided to backtrack on it as a bit.
An about face, if you will. And yes, tonight's the night we finally get around to rare exports from 2010, which I'm excited to talk about because I actually really enjoy this one. But I hate to put the brakes on the gravy train because right now I have here in the studio some delightful and or devilish holiday offerings to taste test here for
that's
for
a very
folks.
Very fancy way to say bad Halloween candy.
Oh, it's not even candy, friends. I have the 1-2 punch here of the Oreo-flavored Coca-Cola.
Oh no.
And then just today, surprise on my doorstep was a pack of the Coca-Cola flavored Oreos.
Oh, they double reversed it. They did a two-way collab.
Yeah, they double dipped.
Okay, I assume.
So
I've seen people post the Oreo flavored Coke. I'm assuming that the Coke flavored Oreos are much harder to come by.
I will be honest, I didn't know they existed until they showed up today.
How did that happen? Did somebody send them to you? Or you just saw them and ordered them same day?
No, my brother was on the hunt for them, found them, got 2 packs, and brought one to me.
Excellent.
So, you can blame my brother Dan for this one. I was already planning on drinking the Coke on the air, but now we have the Oreos to match. Oh, you better believe it. So,
which you're gonna start with?
Yeah,
it's the eternal question: burger first, fries first, or burger and fries mixed in the same? A little bit of burger, a little bit of fry. What are you gonna work with here?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I don't know which is the burger or the fry in this scenario, so I'm gonna go with the Oreos.
Okay,
I guess that's the burger.
Okay, safe bet. I wonder if are they gonna taste like exactly the same?
I hope. I mean, okay, so the Oreos themselves, the Coca-Cola, or there's the brown cookie on one side, the white cream in the middle, and then a red Coca-Cola flavored cookie on the other side. But it also has Pop Rocks in the middle.
It has to simulate soda, effervescent soda.
Yeah,
but
I guess so.
Brown cookie? You mean like the normal Oreo on one side?
The regular Oreo, cookie.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say here. So let's just crack this bad boy open.
All right.
Oh God, the smell just wafts right out at you.
It didn't get picked up on the mic, but your reaction to it certainly did. What's your smell? Are you smelling Coke? Are you smelling Oreo?
I'm smelling Coke. Like there's a definite like Coca-Cola like caramel scent to this, which is unpleasant. If I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Ugh. This actually kind of slightly ties in with the movie because one of the ways that they fight the monster in this movie is that they have to ingest holiday flavored treats. So, friends, we're doing you a service right now. Let's just dive in. Well,
yeah.
It's mostly Oreo I'm getting. Oh, the back end is the Coke. And the Pop Rocks.
Okay.
It's not terrible. I've had some bad Oreo flavors in my life, but this is not terrible.
What's the worst Oreo flavor you've ever had?
Oh, man. I've had, it's like a mint chocolate chip they've done before. And the mint flavor in an Oreo, just no thank you.
It just basically feels like somebody put toothpaste in the middle of two Oreo. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I can get down with some mint choc chip, but I can see how that might be off-putting.
Yeah, in like a cookie when you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
Which and speaking of toothpaste, I suddenly realized I have a dental appointment in the morning. Kids, take it from your friend Joey Wade. Do not do this to your dentist.
Let's
wash this down now.
All
right. Limited edition Oreo flavored Coca-Cola, 0 sugar. Let's do. At least it's 0 sugar.
Still really bad for your teeth, from what I understand, but it's all good.
I am going to be honest here. I don't really taste it that much.
It just tastes like Coke.
It just tastes like it's just like extra sweet Coke,
Ugh.
which is already like the worst thing you can do to your teeth.
Is there a way for sweet Coke? I guess so. It's Pepsi basically, because Pepsi's a little bit sweeter than Coke.
Yeah, and you got a little bit of that like Oreo cream flavor in there too. So it's almost like a vanilla Coke a little bit.
Okay, no, thank you, sir. Enjoy that. You enjoy that.
I do have a frosty brew to wash this all down with when I'm done. So. I was expecting it to be terrible, so I'm sorry that it's not.
No, I feel like it's a gimmick, but I feel like there's enough overlap there that it couldn't be like awful, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine drinking like the one of these, but I have a whole 6-pack in my fridge, and I don't know if I'm going to even touch the rest of them.
Uh-oh. Find some local children. Give it out for Halloween.
Ooh, no, don't tempt me, because that's a fun idea.
Nobody gives
load up
drinks
all the
out.
neighborhood kids with Cokes in their little Halloween pails. That's a recipe for disaster.
They make the little cans. Nobody gives out drinks for Halloween anymore. Like back in the olden days, you would go over to Granny Singleton's and they'd have the fruit punch bowl. But in this in this hyper paranoid day and age, nobody gives out drinks anymore for Halloween.
I know.
Maybe I'm going to give out. No, I'm not going to give out soda for Halloween.
I mean, I also feel like giving out soda is just a recipe for, it's just you're just asking to get your house pelted with cans of soda on Halloween.
Kids like soda.
Yeah, they do, but they also, what they love doing? They love throwing stuff. And a soda can is like a perfect projectile.
What kind of kids are in your neighborhood that they're throwing shit at your house after you give it to them?
There's a couple I have my eye on. If I'm
All
being
right,
honest.
all right. You gotta watch out. You gotta watch out for some of these kids, I guess.
Yeah. The other thing I'll point out is like this. The can is like it's like the black and white striped, like the Oreo stripes, but it also reminds me of Beetlejuice, which is a thing right now.
It's like a collab. Right?
Kind of.
It's like collab inside of your collab.
But there's already a Beetlejuice soda. I know it's the Fanta soda has like a Beetlejuice tie-in right now, and it's supposed to be like apple flavored soda, and apparently it's really awful.
So it's
maybe I should have gotten that for the show tonight.
I think you have your assignment for the next show.
That's true. Oh man. All right, well stay tuned, folks.
How could it? I mean, I don't know. You can make apple. You can make anything bad, I guess, if it's like really fake apple.
Yeah,
because if
it's green apple, so I'm also assuming it's like the Granny Smith flavor.
Okay, and it's like it probably okay. Yeah, I can see how that would be bad because like apple soda is just cider, right?
I mean, sort of. Yeah, that's true.
But
when you add the sour into it and like the green apple kind of flavor, like I can see how that would go bad really quick.
Yes, for sure. Okay. Thank you, Brave Warrior, for bringing this light into our life.
We strayed too far from God's light. But if anybody out there has tried the Beetlejuice Fanta, let us know. Find us on the internet at Christmas Creeps anywhere. So, hey, let's talk about a movie that we watched called Rare Exports.
Before we do that, one last pressing matter of business.
Okay.
What you working with to wash it down there, friend? Can't you?
Oh, I did forget about that. I do have a Frosty Brew in the event that this soda was just awful.
Oh, but you're not gonna elect to use it.
No, I might as well because the time is right. This is from the Old Mecklenburg Brewery. This is an OMB Copper Alt Beer. I do not know what that is, but I'm going to enjoy it.
It just sounds like a standard amber. Probably should be good.
Probably should be, but it also has this weird like pop top. I don't know.
You showed it to me. If anybody remembers, they were a little bit before our time. If anybody remembers pull tab beers, it's a pull tab, but it's on like a glass bottle. It's very odd. I've never seen it before.
Right.
Anyways,
it's like that bit from Dawn of the Dead. Do you have a bottle opener? No. Well, then don't knock it. It's got its own key. Anyway.
All right.
Oh wow, you're right. That is a nice kind of amber ale. Pretty good. Pretty solid.
Nice.
Okay, I've wasted enough time talking about my drinks. Bradford, what have you got tonight, friend?
I have a cup of decaffeinated coffee. Because that's where we're at today.
Starting to question my dietary habits here, Brad.
No, you're good. You're good. On any normal day, I'd be knocking them back. So sometimes you gotta put the brakes on a little bit. It's all good.
Yeah, sometimes you got to look out for number one, and I respect that.
Yes.
All right. Well, Rare Exports, Brad. Let me ask you first up. Were you familiar with this at all?
I was not familiar with this in the least. Other than what I've heard you talk about. Mm-hmm. This is probably my first exposure to it. Maybe,
Okay.
I might have seen a DVD cover of it here or there. I feel like maybe I've heard the name before, but that's about the extent of my northern exposure, if you will.
Ah, nice. Oh, this is one that we have bandied about for, I'm not kidding here, over 10 years of doing this show. Like even in the first year, we were like, should we do Rare Exports? Nah, let's save it for a good time. And then 10 years later, that good time finally came when we just gave up and said, let's go ahead and just watch Rare Exports. Everybody else already has. Not that we're Johnny-come-latelys or anything. I mean, I've always known that this was a fun movie. I think I remember seeing it in the theater, actually.
Okay.
So when this came around to like the local art house theater, I was like, Christmas horror monster movie? Okay, yes, please. And there I was. And even then, this was 2010. This came out. I remember coming out of that theater being pretty jazzed about it and like excited that like you don't see good Christmas horror movies very much. Not even these days when it's just like everybody's in on the game. They just don't make them like this anymore.
No, I mean, now that everybody's in on the game, it's arguably worse than it's ever been.
That's true.
I would say
the content machine needs content, so let's just crank them out as fast as we can.
Now this hits that sweet spot where it's like novel enough, but still not completely, it's late enough in the game that you can make a good solid modern movie, but not so recent that it's completely played out, I would say. Right.
I think at this point, this is like the definition of like a good cult horror movie. Like plenty of people are familiar with it and they're aware of it, but it's still not one that like, you're not going to see them make T-shirts of it at Hot Topic or anything,
Right. It's a little bit of a deeper cut now, especially with 14 years. Now that we're 14 years down the road. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, too, this is a Finnish horror movie, so it's not even in English, so it's even more of a harder sell than it otherwise would be. But I don't think like that's not a detriment at all. Like if you're into watching foreign films, like you're gonna have a great time watching this. If not, I mean that's what we're here for tonight, is to sell you on rare exports.
Yes. Don't let the subtitles scare you. It's gonna be okay. I can't. Yeah. I know you and I are complete outliers, but I cannot fathom docking a movie for being in a different language and having subtitles. It just doesn't occur to me, but I know some people are that way.
Oh, no, I've talked to people in my personal life who, like, I've tried to recommend movies to them, and as soon as I say it's not in English, their brain just shuts down. And it's like I'm speaking a different language now. Like, they just don't care. And that's fine too. Like
it's not to
watch what you want to watch.
Yum. Yeah.
Watch what you want to watch. It's fine.
I guess. It's like
the other part of it now, though, is it's easy. I feel like it's easier now because so many TV shows I feel have such a bad like sound mix nowadays. You have to have the captions on to understand anybody talking about anything.
Unwatchable. Like 80% of stuff that comes out now automatically gets English subtitles turned on. Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And the funny thing to me, like this is a digression I didn't expect, but like the funny thing to me is we watched the Lord of the Rings movies again the other night, like we do. We just left the captions on our TV because we've been watching everything with captions. All of a sudden, I understand everything that everybody's saying in Elvish or whatever because they're actually translating all of it.
Oh, they pulled that whole business.
I can actually like see the words they're saying, and it's not just gibberish.
When it's like when the ring is whispering, do they translate that too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Frodo, put me on your finger. You know you want to. I'm going to show you a good time.
Basically, it's more basic than that. It's more just like Aragorn's got like 10 names, and the ring calls him all of them. So it's stuff like that. A good time. But no, the other selling point for rare exports is this is like just a hair over 80 minutes, and it is a breeze to watch, friends.
Short and sweet. I love it.
Short, can't be beat. Like, ugh.
Yes.
It's hard nowadays to sit for any movie. So like when I see one that's 80 minutes, give it to me.
Movies and games need to be shorter, right?
Everything could stand to be a little bit shorter. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if it's just like the age we're living in, but a little editing goes a long way, folks. You don't need to pad it out. I'll feel like I got my money's worth if the movie is 80 minutes long or the game is 25 hours long. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, and that extends to TV shows too. Like, we also just rewatched the last season of Stranger Things, and that last episode did not need to be 2.5 hours long, people.
What? In season 4, there's the finale is 2.5 hours?
Yes, it took us 3 days to watch it.
Wait. they know that it's a TV show, right? That they can cut it up into smaller things called episodes.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Like most of the season is like a normal like hour-long episodes. Okay, great. And then the second to last episode, they're like, you know what? It's feature length now. It's 90 minutes. Okay, I guess. Oh, there's one more episode. It's 2.5 hours long. What's wrong with you people?
Was it like, did they hold it back and like release it on like near Halloween as like an event? Like I could kind of understand that, but like still just release the last 3 normal length episodes on Halloween, right?
I guess. I don't know. Or maybe they were planning on the last episode being a huge event and they were like, we're going to put this out in theaters. But of course, it was like the middle of COVID. No one's going to theaters anyway.
Right.
I don't know.
I need to finish that. I dropped halfway through the 3rd season. You told me that the 4th is really good. And apparently it's never coming back because some of the cast, what did they do? Some of them milkshake ducked themselves, didn't they?
Oh God, really? I didn't know that.
I know that 12, the actress who plays 12, basically doesn't want to do it anymore. But I think one of the other kids, maybe I'm just misremembering something or another. But
I mean that one's got Ghostbusters money now, so he doesn't need Stranger Things anymore.
Right.
But I don't know about the rest of them.
Okay.
So spoiler alert for Stranger Things, if they just end it now where it is, the show ends with the entire town on fire.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the show.
I mean, it would be very on brand for Netflix to can it, like, right in the middle of a plot development, right?
Basically, yeah. Yeah. But we're dragging this out because I see now that we're in the Rare Exports episode, I don't want to talk about Rare Exports because then we'll have done it already.
We'll stretch this out into 3 episodes. So this
is Rare Exports Part 2. That way we can get J-Man back on the podcast. Johnny 5, by the way, is under the weather tonight, which is why he's not here with us. So get better, J-Man.
Feel better.
Feel better, bro. So hey, how about this? How about we haven't done this in a while. How about we play our game?
Okay.
Where I ask you to explain the plot of Rare Exports in 60 seconds or less.
Okay. Do I have to say any of the characters' names?
I'm going to give you that one and say no.
Pietari is the main character. One of the adults has a really fun name to say, but I can't say it. It's like it starts with a P as well. It's got a lot of alliteration in it. It's the guy who drives the chopper.
Yeah, see, we're gonna butcher some of these names tonight, and I'm sorry. Pietari?
Yeah, that guy. Oh my God, I can't do that. I can't do this in a minute.
Yes, you can. Brad, there's not much happens in this movie, okay?
I know, but I want to get into like the background stuff.
You will be fine. We'll tease this out later. For the uninitiated folks, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Bradford here to explain the plot of Rare Exports in 60 seconds or less. If he can do it in under 60 seconds, however much time's left, I will donate that amount to a local charity. So if he gets through this in 30 seconds, we're donating $30 to something.
Oh, okay.
That's how we do this. You can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you.
I want to apologize in advance to whatever charity we're deciding on this week.
We're going to deduct money from that charity.
We're gonna defraud the charity for the negative amount of money.
We're gonna send a Venmo request to a children's hospital for $30,
for every second that I go over 1 minute. All right.
Are you ready, Bradford?
As ready as I'll ever be.
You got this. 3, 2, 1, hit it.
Okay, in rural Finland, there's a mountain, and the son of a butcher, Pietari, lives near the mountain. They're excavating it to try to exhume the tomb of Santa Claus. Pietari gets bad feelings. It turns out he's right. Santa Claus is out to torture and steal all the children. Hijinks ensue, and the children have to be saved by basically blowing up Santa. The end. All
right, well, that's 26 seconds, so...
I mean, I kind of got the main points, right? A lot of horror stuff. A lot of horror stuff happens in between. There's a case of mistaken identity. It's not really important.
That,
right?
That is a very, very much a load-bearing hijinks ensue, my friend. No, 26 seconds. So we'll be donating $34 to some local charity. We'll talk about it on the next episode.
I feel like I glossed over a lot, and I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. But the one thing, basically, we do this so that we can just blast through the plot and not have to tease it out for an hour and a half.
Not have to be what we used to be, which is the plot recap podcast.
Yeah, we're not the AV Club in podcast form anymore.
Do they do that on the AV Club?
Like the AV Club, like their TV recaps. That's like all they do is just explain everything that happened in an episode. But the one thing that you glossed over that we have to talk about are Santa's elves.
Right, that's the case of mistaken identity. I should have put it in my my thing. I mean, it's kind of the big twist of the movie, though, right?
It really, it's the main, like, it's the big part of the movie is Santa's elves.
It's very good the way they do this. I like the way that this movie pulls this.
So yeah, so they're excavating this mountain because they know there's a tomb in there, and it's something. And this crazy like American explorer investor guy, he's pretty sure he knows what it is, but he's not telling anybody. And he has these rules that the excavators have to follow, or else they will all die grisly, horrible deaths.
I liked that a lot. It's very like SCP-esque. Like he's not explaining why people aren't allowed to curse or cavort or drink alcohol.
Right.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's like you can't swear, you can't drink, you can't do you can't smoke or do this or that because that puts you on the naughty list and you will get murdered.
Yes.
But then, our main kid, Pietari, he and his dad live near the site, and he knows something's not right. And Pietari is this sad little kid who he reads all those stories about Santa Claus, but specifically all the stories about how Santa Claus like tortures and kills naughty children.
Well, once he gets a suspicion of what's going on, at least. Also, we have a dead mom alert.
Oh, we do. That's right.
Yes, for once, one in a good movie, but
still. You can't leave well enough alone, can you? You gotta have it.
You gotta have that maudlin element to any Christmas story, right?
Right. Why we need a reason for it to be sad at for them to be sad at Christmas, and I guess that is just like Public Enemy number 1.
About as sad as it can get.
Right. So, yeah, it's worth pointing out that it's there, but
anyhow,
let's not dwell on it. Anyway, but Pietari is terrified that he's going to be dragged away by Santa Claus, and because he did something very bad, didn't he?
He and his bud, in their adventure to go check out the dig site at the very beginning of the film, cut a hole in the fence, but in the Russian Finnish border, because the dig site is just over the border in Russia on a mountain.
Right.
And they let in a bunch of wolves. I guess the Russian side has a lot more wolves, and it destroys the reindeer. The reindeer, I guess, culling. A lot of actually, I was reading up on the area because the movie does a really good job of this. I mean,
yeah,
it's a Finnish production. They should do a good job about this. The coordinates listed are actually right on the Russian-Finnish border, and it's the Lapland area. Specifically, okay. the coordinates are in the Urho Kekkonen National Park, which is one of the larger parks in Finland, but it's up in the fell regions, so sort of this barren, remote area. But a lot of the folks up there make their living off of reindeer meat. So So they'll actually like herd or otherwise corral reindeer and then harvest that meat, and that's part of how they make their living because there's some demand for it. And they were going to do that this year, but all of the reindeer get killed because he thinks that they get killed, or the adults think that they get killed because of the wolves. Come to find out later, that's not the case.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit, because if it's not wolves that kill all the reindeer, then we have to assume that it's Santa's elves that kill the reindeer, which just feels wrong.
Well, he's again a case of mistaken identity. Pietari thinks it's Santa because he says, "Oh, he's really hungry." Just one man ate like 50 reindeer.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But then because of that, he's worried that Santa's going to take him away and do horrible things to him because he let the reindeer get killed,
and they lose out on this source of income that they need to live, basically.
Right.
So I guess we should get to the central sort of conceit, which is the case of mistaken identity and sort of the central twist of this movie. Right. If you haven't seen this movie, I would recommend going and watching it. It's a good time, and it's very short.
Watch and it's pause this podcast and go watch it now. We will be here when you are done. It's on Tubi. I got it through my local library. Oh, nice. On that one service, Canopy. Yeah, it's on Canopy, ad free, so that was cool. Anyways, so not at the very start, but also towards the beginning of the movie, Pietari's father sets up a trap to catch wolves, by digging a hole in the ground, putting a bunch of spikes in, putting a pig's head above the pit. And on Christmas Day, that trap has been sprung, and there's something in the trap. Come to find out, it's a human. It's an old man. It's an old man with a white beard, who is sort of in a half alive, half dead state. But he smells. He can smell children, and he can smell gingerbread. Right. And so everybody comes to believe that this man is Santa Claus. Sure. Yes, he is. Sure. Definitely is. Can I ask you one thing that I didn't quite get? Yeah. They find a wallet on him, and it's from an American, right? Yes. So they keep going back and forth up to the mountain where the dig site is, and the dig team is, and the dig team gets killed. Right. And presumably this old man killed the leader of the dig team, who was American. But he just happened to have his steal his clothes. Like he wasn't. Was he clothed? No, I don't think he was. So unless he took his jacket. Yeah, but the wallet, I just don't. That was one thing that I wasn't super clear on, is if he killed the lead. I know that it's not. My question was, is there a mummy's curse type situation that turns people into elves, or spoiler alert, or is it that this elf killed the leader of the dig site and stole some of his possessions and had them on his person? I think that's more the likely case. Okay. I don't see this being a situation like a body snatcher type situation. Right. Okay. Right. Spoiler alert, by the way, it's not Santa, it's an elf. Right. It is not Santa, because this old man is not alone. There are many of them, and also inexplicably they are butt ass naked. Yeah, they're super duper naked. So a couple of other strange things are happening throughout the village. Sources of heat are getting stolen, space heaters, hair dryers, ovens, what have you. And all of the children except for Pietari have gone missing and have been replaced with creepy looking straw dolls. Right. So what's going on? Pietari thinks and or knows that he's next. Yes. His paranoia has not led him astray in this case. All right. I guess we didn't say we were going to summarize the plot over the course of the podcast, but we're kind of doing that. But yeah. I mean, there's lots of little twists and turns and setups that get paid off that are worth talking about. Yeah, it's
to talk less about the plot and more about sort of the subplot or like the subtext of it.
Yeah.
Pietari's father is trying so hard to like shield his son from what's going on, and bless his heart, like he's one of these dads that's like all gruff and tough, but at the end of the day, he's really looking out for his kid. Like he doesn't want him to even like look in the butcher in the, I guess, what would you call it?
The slaughterhouse.
The slaughterhouse. Like when at the beginning of the movie, when he comes in, he's like, "All right, I'm working. Close your eyes." This is sweet. This is a sweet dad, sweet Finnish dad, and he's
still trying to look out for his kid, which is nice.
Maintain his innocence a little bit. He won't let him look in the pit. He won't let him, once they actually have the body of the elf. That he does everything in his power to keep Pietari from getting involved, but yet he does eventually.
But he does because he has to, because he's the last kid standing, and he knows that like only a child can solve this Santa Claus problem.
Yes.
Which they eventually do, because all of Santa's elves descend upon the village to, I guess, to capture Pietari, because he's the last one standing, I suppose.
Yeah.
And we get into this weird, it's almost like a zombie movie kind of situation, because it's just hordes of naked old men running around the countryside, chasing after this kid in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's some good symbolism too. So the final sort of showdown is this warehouse, where the elves have built what they've termed what the characters term a nest, where they've put all these heating elements and all the children in sacks around a giant demonic Santa encased in ice, and they're trying to thaw him out, because the story goes that the local villagers had enough of this evil Santa's tricks, and they got him into a lake and had him fall through the ice and get encased in ice, and then entombed him. This entire mountain is Santa,
right?
Santa's tomb, essentially.
And one of the kids even points out early on to call back to the Coca-Cola that I'm still drinking. He says Coca-Cola was all just a hoax. The real Santa was totally different.
Yes. But there's some great symbolism, because there's a big 24 on the warehouse, and throughout the film, Pietari is like sealing up his advent calendar with tape and staples with the big Christmas Eve door.
Yeah.
And it's kid logic, right? Like it's sort of he's projecting his anxieties about Christmas Day onto his advent calendar, and thinks somehow if he keeps himself from opening that last door, then Christmas won't come, and then this horror won't come. It's great.
Yeah, either that, or that he's so scared of this Santa Claus that he knows there's a Santa Claus behind that door, and he doesn't want to see it.
I guess sometimes it is a chocolate Santa on the 24th, isn't it?
Sometimes it is.
It depends on the set you get.
Yeah. So then, of course, when you get to the big warehouse at the end, and the doors of the warehouse have a giant 2-4 painted across them, and he's just standing there in awe, like, oh man, this is my nightmare.
Yes. Good job, movie.
Good job, movie.
Yeah. So Pietari, they managed to dismantle all of the heating elements, and they lead the elves away by airlifting the children over to the reindeer pens.
Because they realize at a certain point that the elves, the old men, are drawn to the children, and they like as soon as Pietari enters the room of the slaughterhouse, the old man like stands up and stares right at him.
Yeah.
So he knows that the elves will chase after the children, which is horrifying.
Yes, it's pretty spooky stuff. So they lead the elves away, and then they manage to blow up Santa with dynamite.
Right.
Not after doing one of the good visual gags in the movie, where they take a chainsaw and cut off the Santa's horns, because at the end of the day, these are like hunters and Finnish northern men. So they're like, yeah, we got to save the horns.
Yeah, we're not going to let this opportunity go by.
We killed this thing. We should take these as a trophy. It's good.
Yeah, they blow up Santa and they lead all the elves into the electrified reindeer pen. And now we have a new problem on our hands because we have all these old men just standing around doing nothing. What are we going to do with them? And the movie's final gag presents itself, and it's just wonderful.
What a weird ending, right?
It's like a Twilight Zone ending.
It's really off the wall, but I kind of like it. What do they do?
They take all the old men, they bathe them, they clothe them, they train them to be nice to children, and they dress them like Santa Claus and ship them all over the world in big wooden crates.
They sell these ostensibly humans to other people,
right?
in the what is it? Where are they shipping the one that's in the example? Or is it Tanzania? Was it?
Yeah, Tanzania.
Like they're shipping them all over the world. It's ridiculous.
But it's like so these guys, they're down on their luck and they're out of money because all the reindeer are gone. But we have 198 Santa Clauses, and they think they can get $85,000 for each one. That's $16 million. That's $16.8 million.
Plus 22% VAT.
Right.
Naturally.
So that's a gold mine right there.
$85 is so cheap for a living humanoid creature, but
85,000
or
even
that's
still.
what I said. That's what I meant rather.
Okay.
85,000. Did I say 8,500?
No, you just said $85.
Oh, 85,000. Yeah.
$85 is also ridiculously cheap.
Say what you want about America, but $85 can still buy you a hell lot of elves.
Who said anything about America? But I love the end. It's like the ending to Raiders of the Lost Ark almost, because you see them box up all these Santas and they're just all stacked up in this warehouse, ready to ship out to the world. And like the film's title reveals itself. These are the rare exports. Are these Santa Clauses?
These elves are Santa Clauses.
It is such like a three-dimensional chess kind of gag that I'm like, no American would think of this in a million years.
It's odd, but in a really good, satisfying way. I like it a lot. I like it,
and I appreciate that they knew to leave well enough alone, and we don't need a sequel, we don't need a streaming series or a reboot. Just like leave Rare Exports is a great little movie all on its own. We don't need another.
And thank goodness for that.
Right. Oh boy.
And and it's a good ending because we're left with maybe more questions than is comfortable, but still a satisfying little knot is tied up at the end. Yeah,
and Pietari and his dad are going to be fine. The day is saved. Everything's great. I love it.
And Santa on every street corner.
That's right.
So
should we go to the crankometer then, Brad?
I think so.
All right, friends, the crankometer is our patented XY axis for rating Christmas movies. The X axis is how Christmassy a film is, and the Y axis is how good a film is. So, Bradford, Rare Exports, how Christmassy?
Kinda. It doesn't. I mean, it's hard to exude that Christmastide feeling with Christmas horror, I think.
True.
But it uses the trappings and the concepts of Christmas, especially in the more traditional interpretations of Santa Claus, and Sinterklaas and all this.
Yeah.
And it goes into like sort of the fun pagan origins of, the whole season. I have it like a 1 or a 2, maybe.
Really, that low, you think?
I don't know. I guess there's like gingerbread, maybe a 3.
I'll say a 3 is solid, but I'm specifically remembering like one of my favorite gags in the movie is one of the hunters has to leave the warehouse and he make his way past all of the Santa elves, and he does this by like walking past them while eating a gingerbread cookie to show them that he cares about Christmas enough to eat gingerbread cookies.
All right.
I like just little touches like that make me really love this movie. So I'm gonna, 3 is I'll be amenable to a 3.
Are you going to try to argue for a 4? I can be convinced.
I don't know. Like you get into. Here's the thing. They don't really get into any of like the real origins of Santa Claus, like Saint Nicholas of Myra and all that stuff. Like it's not even a thing in the world of this movie. But they're like all of like the Santa Claus, like the folklore and all that stuff is kind of weaved in there. So it's tough. It's really tough for me.
I think maybe my low score is also coming from like my perspective and like what I think of as a Christmas movie and what I'm looking for, something that reminds me of that Christmas feeling.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that point of view. And to be fair, this is not one that like I break out on the holiday season on the regular. Like this is the first time I saw it since 2010. So I get what you're saying. That this is not kind of a seasonal favorite. It's somebody's seasonal favorite, I'm sure. It's not mine. Yeah,
maybe
I'm good with a 3. Like
okay.
I think we can meet in the middle. If you say a 2 and I say a 4, I'm fine with a 3.
Okay. I'm happy with that.
I'm happy with that too. So then the y-axis, I mean, how good is Rare Exports as a film? And I would wager it's better as a film than it has any right to be.
Oh, it exceeds its concept. It really does. Definitely like a 4 or maybe even a 5. It's a good time, right?
Yeah. Like 4 for sure, because like it's got everything going for it. It's spooky when and how it needs to be. It's got a touching story about a dad and his kid. It's got some really fun kind of horror elements to it. It's 80 minutes long and you get in and you get out. And like, I respect every decision they made with this.
I really liked it a lot. Especially like the spookiness. It threads that needle. There's this sort of like melancholy and spookiness about it, but it doesn't really pull any cheap shots. Like there's not a lot of gore to speak of.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
It's good. I like it a lot.
It's more of a vibe than a lot of horror movies we watch.
It is certainly a vibe-based horror movie, I would argue. It's yeah. Like a almost like an It Follows sort of situation.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Vibes-based horror, which is actually probably not really a genre, but kind of my favorite genre of horror.
Yeah,
just like
not really a genre, but it should be.
Weird, otherworldly feeling horror that kind of feels like a nightmare or like a waking dream, but not overtly so. Just like everything feels a little bit off, right?
Yeah, it's not as vibey as like Blood Beat or something like that.
Oh yeah. No, that's a vibe.
There's a vibe for you, but it's more a little more direct than that. But it's not like in your face about it, Exactly,
right?
It's not Blood Beat, but it's also not Mercy Christmas.
Yes, for sure.
I could imagine a universe where like Steven Spielberg would do an American remake of this, and it would still be pretty good. Like this thing just works. Is all I'm saying.
Right.
I like it a lot, and I'm gonna give it at least a 4.
Ooh, I want to give it a 5 personally.
Oh,
okay. I enjoyed this thoroughly, I think.
Okay, sell me a little bit more. Like I'm almost there.
Maybe I don't know. I'm of two minds.
Come on, you want to sell me on a 5. You can do it.
I mean, it's just the way that it plays the whole concept, right? It would be way too easy to make this too silly for its own good, right?
Right.
Too stupid. I mean, it is a stupid concept, but it manages to thread that needle. Or 2, you could have gone you could have leaned too hard into like the horror and like trying to make it like a metal album cover, and it doesn't even do that really. It still has its like moments, its touching human moments. I don't know. I think it accomplishes, it threads a very difficult needle to thread with what it's doing, like what concept it's trying to achieve, right?
Yeah.
It would have been so hard to oversalt or undersalt this soup, but they nailed it, right?
Oh, definitely. And I take back what I said about Spielberg earlier, because it just occurred to me, like, I could imagine a version of this that's basically just the Goonies, and I hate it.
Right, or it could have leaned too hard into, like, the kids go on an adventure thing, but no, Pietari's the only kid left, and what's scarier what's scarier when you're a little kid than, like, kind of being on your own, and nobody believes you, and nobody's on your side, even though his dad was on his side, you know?
Right. It makes it that much more rewarding when, like, he's proven right and he realizes, like, that, you know, only he can solve this problem, and he does it, and it feels so good to, like, see him win at the end.
Right.
It's great.
It's a good film.
You know what? You convinced me. I'll give this a 5. I love it. I genuinely love Rare Exports.
Yeah. I didn't know much going into it. I didn't expect to like it this much. I thought it was gonna be, like, too goofy, but it's goofy, but they threaded. I know I keep saying thread the needle, but it's what they did. They nailed it. Yeah. Right.
It's such an odd concept, but they did it exactly as well as they needed to.
Right.
And you can't oversell that. It's just it's a damn good little movie, and more people need to check this out. So go hit up Tubi, hit up Canopy, wherever you need to get a copy of Rare Exports. Go watch it, because man, this is just a fun time.
Yeah.
It's a fun horror movie. Like, it's not silly or goofy, but it's just spooky. I like that.
And it's not too spooky either, which is nice.
No.
That's
like, I wouldn't show it to a kid, but
No. It is rated R. Mostly for the wieners, I would think.
Mostly for a lot of wieners.
Tasteful wieners, mind you. They're not in your face flapping around, but they're there.
I may need to go back into our archives and research this, but this may be the most nudity we've seen in any movie we've watched.
I mean, there's like at least 20 really truly naked dudes in like one scene, right?
Right. Running directly at the camera.
Yeah.
It's very off-putting.
I mean, it's kind of got the same like vibe as It Follows, like just like the big hulking naked people like coming at you, or half naked in some cases, like yeah, it's spooky.
It's spooky. So yeah, we're gonna land on a +3, +5 for Rare Exports. Give it a watch as we round the corner into October, where Home for the Horrordays is going to start getting really spooky. We have a couple of episodes lined up for October. It's going to be a good time. But if you want to find us on the internet or talk to us, let us know how we're doing. You can do that a couple of different ways. I do believe we're ending the show, Brad, unless you have anything else to add.
UFO 50 is really good. You should play it.
There you go, folks. UFO 50.
I'm not going to plug anything of my own because I cannot. So I'm going to plug something else. I'm going to plug something that I enjoy. There you go. Anyhow, please join us.
UFO 50.
Please join us on our Discord. We have a lot of fun over there, talking about movies, talking about current events, books, video games, what have you. And we know you have a lot of choice when it comes to what you do with your limited time. We just want to thank you for listening.
Yeah, when we realize there's a litany, a Santa's list of Christmas podcasts out there, and we appreciate that you still listen to us, because Lord knows there's a ton of them out there. But lots of them are also our friends. So go check out our friends at the Christmas Podcast Network today. If you want to follow us, we're on Discord, like Brad said. We'll put the link to that in our show notes. We're on all the social medias at Christmas Creeps. We're on, Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, I believe. I don't know, but we're probably there. go check us out, go follow us, and tell us how we're doing. And finally, if you want to email us anything at all, it's xmascreeps@gmail.com. So, friend aminos, as we round the corner into October.
Friend aminos? You mean friend dominoes?
No, friend aminos. I don't know. I've been saying that lately.
I come bearing friend dominoes.
Anyway, friends, thank you for listening to Christmas Creeps. I've been Joseph Wade.
I'm Bradford.
Creep it real, y'all, and we'll see you in October.
Bye.
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas.